Welcome to our first broadcast of the Roar Radio Show here at lovely Cazenovia College. First, some introductions. First of all, I am your host, Patrick Smith. I am a junior sport management major, and I did this show basically because I have experience working with the athletic department here in Caz, and I've always had an interest in talking sports, especially the ones at Caz. And to introduce my co-host, here's Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ingram. I'm a junior, same as Patrick Smith. I'm a criminal justice and homeland security major, and the reason why I decided to become a part of this show is real simple. I had a friend come up to me in the hallway. He gave me this really good idea. It sounded very interesting. About 2 months ago, I also got a little bit more involved in the athletic department, announcing at basketball games. So I felt like this was a great opportunity. Don't see nobody doing it, so why not jump on and help a friend out? So really excited to see this get started.
So like I said, this is The Roar. This is a genuine sports radio show. Its main purpose is to give our audience an idea of what goes on this campus in terms of athletics, provide both previews and recaps about the current sports, and we'll have 2 to 3 guests usually per week talking about more of their sports and give a little more about their insight. And finally, our main job here is to get our audience, which is you, excited about all things Cazenovia Wildcats. Now, to preview today's show, we have a big show planned. The first, we're going to talk about men's and women's basketball, and we have Coach Mike Brooks here. He's going to talk about his team. He's actually in the studio now. We're also going to talk about swimming and diving. Coach Bill Hauser will be coming in about 3:45 today, and he's going to talk about his upcoming championships that are going to be next weekend. And we're also going to talk about equestrian, and senior captain Dylan Dombroski will be coming in to talk. So without further ado, we're going to have a short music break and then get right into men's basketball. Okay, welcome back, folks. So now we're going to talk about more of the men's basketball. Right now, their current record is 9-10 overall. They are 7-4 in conference with a .636 winning percentage, which is very good for the NEAC because they have some terrific teams definitely in this conference. And to be that .636 winning percentage is very good. They're near the top of their conference with their record-wise. So let's first get into some of the major storylines that happened so far this year. The first one is obviously Ryan Gavin. He's broken 2 records so far this semester. The first major one was on January 7th, which he became the Caz all-time leading rebounder with 597 rebounds. And he also, on January 19th, became the 9th player to get his 1,000th point club. Now, Kevin, I know you do a lot of working games, so were you actually there on that date?
No, I actually missed that day. I was most likely working, which is what I do on my other free time. And I actually missed his 1,000th free throw.
Oh.
Low point as well, I should say, not free throw. But I did miss it, but it was definitely very epic. I know Ryan Gavin from being in the hallways, so I always speak to him. Definitely did congratulate him. Definitely a big triumph. So I can see him.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a big triumph on this whole campus with that. So now talking about their season a lot, they started off 1-7. They had kind of a rough go of things, but if you look at their season, some of the games they played early season, they played some tough opponents, playing teams such as St. John Fisher. I know they played a couple teams that were a little bit out of, obviously it was non-conference, but have a lot bigger stature than, say, Cazenovia does. But they played them very well. That's good talking points for the rest of the season. It's a good way to start off your season with some tough competition. And since then, they actually are 8-3. They've won 5 in front of their home fans, which is a big plus when you can win, especially at home, in front of usually a packed house up at that gymnasium. Now as we're pulling up some of the scheduling they played. So yeah, they played, like I said, Morrisville State College, which are actually playing here another week or so. Some teams like St. John Fisher, Wells College, Oswego State. They played a tough early season to say the least. But like I said, since then, they've won 5 games at home and a terrific record after the break. So they're definitely on the upside of their season. So now as we look at some of their leaders in statistic-wise, one name that we've already talked about seems to pop up an awful lot, and that is Ryan Gavin. He is their leading scorer so far this year with 18.2 points a game. Avery coming in at second with 15.5, and finally Will rounding out the top 3 with 12.8 points per game. He's a sophomore, contributing 12.8 points a game, coming off a terrific freshman season for Will Thompson. And as we look towards some of the other stats, another one that comes up big for Kaz is the deep ball, the 3-point shot, where a couple of the guys have really good percentages, but they've also not shot as many threes as some of the other players. The top ones coming in are actually Mike DeLuca and Jaquan Anderson, who's actually on my RA staff here at Kaz. But they're both shooting a little bit over 40%. Mike is more at the 50% range, but still terrific seasons. And Keith coming in third with 41. I know, Kevin, you've seen a lot of his threes. Do you remember a lot of them?
Yes, I do. I really think that we should maybe start a GoFund to get him the G5 jet, because the way he throws up those free throws, I'm thinking it's going to hit the wire, it's going to go out of bounds or something, and it just sits up there and just floats directly in, and it's so smooth. It doesn't even make that much. It's just smooth, quiet, and he throws in those threes, and then he gets back in formation, so he definitely doesn't.
Is that definitely something you think is just practice?
It might be bunch of practice, maybe it just comes natural, who knows, but maybe we could talk to coach about getting him that G5 for those free throws. Yeah, we might have to pull some funds together. But some of the other shooting percentages, another big one to look at is the 2-point. And we have a couple of players, like we said, with 3-point that don't play as much, but they still are contributing. That's 2 freshmen, Amon Powell and Thomas Birch, who are each shooting over 50% from the field, which is terrific for a freshman coming in, first-time experience, shooting that well. But then you have Will and Ryan. They're both starting forwards for Kaz that are averaging above 45% from the field. That plays a lot into their wins if they can get good numbers from their inside guys. And then we also said with the 3-point game going, this is going to be a tough team to face down the road. And if I was you as fans, I would definitely come out and support your Wildcats because they're playing some terrific basketball, especially at home. And their last game that they played, actually 2 games ago, was against SUNY Cobleskill. Now this one was on the road. It was a win 76-72. Will Thompson had 26 and 13. Terrific game for him. Keith, like we said, 5 3-pointers. We can't say enough about the kid. He's got 17 points on the day. Avery had 16 and 8. Ryan, though, had kind of a rough going. He only had 2 points, but he contributed 15 boards. Cobleskill was led by both Brian Jackson and Frank DeEste. Another game that they played recently was against Penn College, and this one was home. It was in front of 175 fans. They won 98-84 and a 44-26 advantage in points in the paint, which is very, very crucial in this league. Kevin, were you at that game? Yes, I actually did attend that game. I actually worked that one and was not working nowhere else. And it was actually a good game. A lot of adrenaline rush. It makes one of the reasons why I enjoy going to these basketball games a lot, because the stadium was loud, it was crazy, and it was just a whole bunch of fun. Even though I do not physically get on court, I feel like I'm just as much a part of it as they are as players.
But yeah, that was a terrific game. I was not actually able to attend that game, but Jordan Gilman was a big story of that game. He had 21 points off the bench, a season high for him. The freshman coming in and playing some great minutes that game. Avery and Will each had 17. Keith again had 4 3-pointers, and Ryan had his 9th double-double of the season. Coming up for the Wildcats, we have a couple games coming up real soon. Tomorrow night, actually, is at Utica, so if we're reaching out to any fans around there, they're Kaz Wildcats fans, definitely attend that one. Last year, actually, I think they've played them once during this season. Yep, they did. It was a win, 73-65. That was at Caz. So Caz is looking to win the series sweep of SUNY Poly tomorrow night in Utica. So it's not in front of our roaring crowd, but still should be a tough game for them. And Penn State Abington is coming Saturday. We traveled down to middle of Pennsylvania to play them. So a couple tough games here. Next couple days, we'll see if our Wildcats can weather the storm and pull out a couple wins here. But like I said, we have Coach Brooks in the studio today. We're going to take another short break.
Yo, wait, hold on. Before we go to a break, though, I'm really looking forward to that Morrisville game. It's actually the highlight of my year is watching Caz and Morrisville go at it. And although it will be away, I will definitely be making a trip with a couple of friends. And I won't be in the neutral section, so I'll definitely be in the crowd cheering for our Wildcats.
Yeah, good point.
Hopefully a memorable one.
Yeah, good point there. They are playing on February 19th. It's the Route 20 rivalry renewed. We'll have another show before that to preview that game a little more for you, but just know that is the game that everyone circles on their schedule. The first one, like we said, didn't go as well for our Wildcats, but they're definitely looking for some well-deserved revenge on the Mustangs, and that tip-off is at 5 p.m. that night. So if you're around this area and you want to go watch some terrific basketball, this is definitely a game for you. So like I said, we're going to have a short music break, and then we're going to talk to Mike Brooks, so stick around.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Brooks. I'm the athletic director and head men's basketball coach here at Cazenovia College. And I want to thank you, Patrick and Kevin, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah, we're very happy to have you. We wanted to kick off the show, and you were the perfect person to ask to come in for the first show. So,
I don't know. I think Dylan Dombroski is more perfect than me. I'd rather have him on the show than myself.
Yeah, because Dylan just walked in the studio. We'll have him on in a little bit. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Ryan Gavin's milestone this year. He had 2 terrific milestones. You were obviously at the game being the coach, but tell us a little bit about what went through that day.
I kind of look at milestones a little differently. I think that kind of milestones are something that you can kind of look at the end of a career, things like that. I think it's just a byproduct of the hard work, the effort, the leadership, and the character of a young man such as Ryan Gavin. He's bound for greatness, and it's because of who he is, the way his parents raised him, the way he holds himself accountable, the kind of person he is and the man he is. Success will find its way to him. Happens to be right now in basketball, but in the very near future, it'll be in the business world or whatever venture that he goes down.
Oh, very good. Very glad to hear that. And so now as we keep moving along here, we talked about how you guys started off 1-7, but you played some tough teams, so the record really doesn't show that. But can you tell us a little bit about your team's mindset during the early part of the season?
Our mindset is to play basketball and to stay focused on playing basketball with no rearview mirrors. I purposely schedule the toughest schedule I could possibly put together for our guys in the non-conference schedule. I knew that at the beginning of the year, St. John Fisher was 11th in the nation. Oswego was 25th. Juniata College, where we tipped off, has gotten votes for the top 25 every week this year. I want to play against those teams and compete against those teams because our goal is to win our conference. And I figure if we can kind of compete with those teams and do what we need to do and play at that level, that we'll do well in the conference. I don't get caught up in wins and losses. I don't get caught up in hype or anything like that. We stay the course. We have a goal that we set for ourselves. We hold ourselves accountable for the way we want to perform on a daily basis and for the fact that we want to get better every day. So that's what we've done every day from when we were 1-7 to when we've won 8 of our last 10. We have had the same exact approach, and because of that, I'm proud of my men.
It's very good to hear that. And so what happened, if you can tell us, maybe you can't, but what completely flipped your season around? Was there something someone said or something that they did that really sparked that run for you guys?
I think what happened was that I got out of my way as a coach and stopped limiting my teammates. I mean, my players. They're my teammates. They're my guys. in terms of the game plan, we say on our team that it's the player's job to play as hard as possible, to do their job in the game plan, and to have fun. If they do that, they win, and they take credit for every win. If they do that and they lose, that means there's a flaw in my game plan, and that's on me. There are several things that we had in place in our system, from our transition as an example to our kind of clock management to our defensive strategy, that I don't think were effective, and we're not at fault of any of our players. I then had to assess that, make the change, and equip my guys with the best game plan possible so that they could go out there and get the win. It's honestly all on them. It's nothing to do with me.
There was no changes to the lineup or anything like that you think might have contributed, or was it?
We've been playing mostly the same guys. The way, just so people know, the way our lineup works is just how the real world works. We have a depth chart that our guys fight for their position, whether it's a starting role, reserve role, every single week. Everybody's job is on the line, and they have to earn it. No one's gifted anything. So whether it's someone that didn't play all year long, well, if he was the best guy that week, he's in the lineup. So they have to earn it every week. We don't play any favorites. We don't, it's nothing personal. It's about taking care of business. And that's something we do to try to prepare them for the real world, not just to expect and have this sense of entitlement that someone should give them something. They have to go out and take it.
Yeah, it's very important, especially at the D3 level, where sometimes you're not getting these recruits in that are going to be starting from day one. They're not, there's no national signing day or anything for D3 athletes, so it's important to have that system in place, and I think definitely our basketball team has that. So kind of more of a philosophy type question. Is it easier coaching a team when they're winning or when they're losing, do you think?
I'd say just in terms of implementing strategy and trying to get whatever you need across, it's probably easier is a tricky word. It's easier to coach a team that's losing because they're looking for answers, they're looking for changes that'll produce more successful results. But it's obviously a lot more fun to coach when you're winning.
Oh, yeah,
because even if they're not doing what you tell them to do, if you win, everyone goes home happy at the end of the day.
Okay. So we rambled out a bunch of statistics so far. Is there any one statistic that you think describes your team the best so far?
Right now, the only statistic that describes my team is 7, and that's how many wins we have in conference. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be 8. At the end of this weekend, hopefully 9, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
That's all we care about. It's not about any individual.
It's a good team mentality you got there. And so now it's that time of year again. It's almost the playoffs. So you guys, I believe, are third right now? Third or fourth?
Correct. We are currently third in the North, but we're only one game out of first in the loss column. So the way I see it is, with our upcoming 6 games, if we take care of our business, we'll be in good shape.
Okay. So have you started to think about next year, or are you just waiting until the end of the season to mostly do that?
I've been, obviously this is my 3rd year here at Cazenovia as the head coach. I was the head coach of a prep school for about 7 years. And one thing I've learned in my short tenure as a head coach is that you never have as much control as you think over any situation. More important, and while it is very important to organize and plan and strategize ahead of time, is the ability to quickly and effectively adjust, hold yourself accountable, hold your team accountable, and make the adjustment to arm them to be ready to go. Part of the nature of the beast in college athletics is recruiting, as you need to replace players, you need to bring in talent, whatever. But as it relates to looking into next year, that's as far as I go.
Makes sense.
I look at kind of, especially the 3 years as a head coach here, each of those 3 years, I put together a playbook, a strategy, a plan, a philosophy, what we want to do. And each of those 3 years, we have completely changed that philosophy, strategy, game plan, and we've reached success. So I'm sure there'll be 1 year where we stick to it, and that'll be great, but that's just not the way it works out.
Things happen. Things happen,
and there's different matchups. Certain teams you play different ways, and you have to be able to adjust.
Okay. So to take a step back, you're also the AD of our athletic program. Tell us a little bit about what it's like hosting the NEAC for the third time since 2010. What does this mean for your athletic department's overall success, hosting 3 years?
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. And I think, first and foremost, it allows us to provide such a great student-athlete experience for those kids on the swimming and diving teams. To be able to be home and to be supported by not only their fellow student-athletes, but by other students and hopefully even the faculty members to come out and support these kids that are not only putting in a full course load of work and putting in all that time, but to spend all that time in the pool and be ready to compete at championship level, just like these basketball teams, just like I don't think anyone puts in as much team as the equestrian team. I'm sure Dylan can kind of speak to that in a little bit as well. But, supporting those that are putting in the work to portray our great college is something that we all need to kind of make personal sacrifice to be able to do. It's easy for me to, I think it's easy for everybody. I know our students support each other, but it's a great opportunity to get out there and support them. Secondly, athletics at any institution is another venue or another educational experience that is, right up there with their academic experience educationally. And it's a great opportunity under the great leadership that we've had from Tim Williams as the interim director of the sport management program to get all our sport management kids to get in there and run a championship level event, and to be hands-on and to be a great part of that. It's just, they're here to get that educational experience, and you can talk about it, you can read about it, but to have hands-on experience like that is second to none. So it's great to provide that experience. We do that with internships and a lot of the things we do. So it's something that we take pride in as we kind of foster the academic achievements of our students.
Very cool, very cool. So I'm all set. I don't know if you have any questions for him, Kevin.
No, I'm looking forward to the swim meet this weekend. Coach, if you want to add on, is the basketball team going to make an appearance? Because I know last year, I think you guys showed up in your beach outfit, so.
Yeah, that was going to the beach day. We were doing theme days, and we got out there to support them. Unfortunately, we're going down to Penn State Abington and to Bryn Athyn. That's a schedule that's dictated by the NEAC conference, so it's out of our hands. So unfortunately, we'll be down in Philadelphia. But I guarantee you that we're going to have that live stream on our phones and tablets and watching and cheering the whole entire time.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be texting with the rest of my administrative staff and seeing how things are going, and can't wait to bring that NEAC championship back to our swim and diving teams.
For the second year.
Second year.
All right, so I think we're all set here with Coach Mike Brooks. Thank you for coming in, sir. We'll have a quick music break before we interview Mr. Dylan Dombroski, who's in the studio. We have him live in a couple minutes, so stick around. Thank you.
Back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kevin Ingram, and right now we have in the studio with us Mr. Dylan Dombroski. So, Dylan, want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I'm Dylan Dombroski. As Kevin already said, I'm a senior here at Cazenovia College. I've been on the equestrian team for 4 years, and this year I've been lucky enough to be the captain. I'm also an equine major, and yeah, that's it.
That's great. So we're just going to get right into this interview. So I read that you went to the 2015 IHSA Nationals last spring. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, the Nationals is like the goal of an equestrian. The other sports team, they try to go to the championships, but the goal for anybody on the equestrian team is to get to the IHSA Nationals. So it was, a really good feeling to make it there. You work hard all year long, try to get there. You have to go through a similar process like the playoffs in any other sport.
Right.
You go through 3 stages of elimination rounds, so it's hard work. We practice a lot, but it's very rewarding to be able to make it to the Nationals.
Yes, you guys do definitely practice a lot. I know some friends that are also on the equestrian team, and they have practice either really early in the morning or sometimes they're running to the barn the day before a show to make sure everything is together. So it definitely is a lot of hard work put into it.
Yeah, definitely.
My next question for you is, what is it like to represent not only your team, but also the whole entire school in that competition, because with equestrian, you're on a horse by yourself compared to like basketball where it's a team thing, they're passing the ball. It's just you and your horse in that ring. So what's it like to represent us all?
It's a little nerve-wracking because, it's just you out there, but it's definitely rewarding when you do well because, your coaches are putting all this effort into you, the school's supporting you, and you want to do good not only for yourself but for the whole team and the school and the coaches that all help you, support you, and guide you through this process. So to be out there and to compete and be able to represent all these people who really are pushing for you to do well is a great feeling.
That's very interesting. Before I started really understanding the equestrian department, I did not know how you guys' stats worked. I just knew it was just you guys on a horse. And I was like, how do their stats work? Because they're also a team, but they're really in the ring individually. So it was a little confusing for me. So I'm really glad that you're here to teach me something new and elaborate. So tell us a little bit about the average day of a Cazenovia College equestrian rider.
Well, the first thing I could say is that we're very busy, as you already know. Practices early in the morning, practices late at night. Most of our weekends are filled up by horse shows, we'll have 3 horse shows in a weekend, so that's a triple. Sometimes sports people have doubleheaders, but we could have triples, maybe even 4 shows in a weekend.
Ooh.
So you could be here at Caz riding, and then the next day you got to travel somewhere else to ride. And when you compete at the next levels, you make it to the playoffs, we'll say. You travel even further, like North Carolina or Ohio, or this year we're going to Kentucky for nationals. Last year it was in Massachusetts. So you really travel a lot. You're pretty busy, but it's very rewarding because we all love the sport. So.
You guys definitely do. It sounds so busy. I don't understand how you find time to sleep the way your schedule sounds.
Yeah.
Between practice and also your academics and your weekends. It's like, where's the pillow? So how did the team look during last semester when you guys were riding?
We looked really, really good. We have a new coach on the western part of the team, an assistant coach, and she's really kind of helped us find the missing void in the team. We're currently leading the region right now as a team, so that's a really good indicator of how we did. We have 5 more shows this coming semester, so we're hoping to hold that lead to qualify for nationals as a team. So we looked good. We just got to keep up the hard work, keep practicing, and our first Western show is actually this Saturday. So we'll see how we're gonna do.
Yes, before the semester is over, my goal is to make it to one of you guys' events.
Yeah.
I did come one time to the barn, but it was really cold, and I sort of left early. But teach me something new right now. What is the main difference between Western, hunt seat, and dressage?
Okay, so
if you can break it down for me, because I've been asking.
What we all got in common is that we ride horses. That's pretty simple. But I guess the main difference is there's judges for each one of these events, and we call them disciplines, 3 different disciplines: Western, dressage, and hunt seat. And we all ride in different tacks, so like a different saddle, different bridles, bits, and the judges are all looking for something different from the rider. So in hunt seat, they could be jumping over a fence, but in the Western world, we don't jump fences. We try to look nice on the horse and cue your horse in the most subtle way that the judge can't see you cueing the horse. So it's really the judges are looking for different things from the riders in each discipline, and when you ride that discipline, you get really good at knowing how to ride that specific discipline. So although they're all have to do with horses, they are very different.
So as we look ahead to your road trip to Oswego State this weekend, or I think they're home. You guys are home this weekend.
They're hosting it.
Correctly, but they're hosting it. So it's Oswego's show, but in Cazenovia. As you look forward to that this weekend, can you preview that show a little bit?
Yeah, we could preview it. You always want to look forward to see, kind of what you could do to prepare yourself. So there's strategizing that goes into these horse shows, that the coaches pick what horses could be in your class. So you want to look at these horses and ride as many as you can, and also you want to not overestimate yourself. You never know what happens. You're riding a live animal, so you need to be prepared for kind of anything. But looking into the show, I think we have a really good chance of winning. We've been practicing, every week, so I think we're prepared. We'll do well, but you never know till you know.
Well, I see that you currently lead the regional high point rider standing. Are you at the stage where you are starting to look to a return to nationals?
I'm definitely thinking about it, but I never want to underestimate my opponent because
Smart man.
last year I was also leading the region at this point, and I ended up making a mistake on one horse, and I lost by 1 point at the end, and I didn't go to nationals for the high point rider. I did go as an individual, but you never want to underestimate your opponent, and you always want to ride your best. But I'm definitely thinking about nationals at this point because I am leading the region pretty substantially.
That's great, and I'm pretty sure that'll be a nice thing to be a part of, especially with it being your senior year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you're looking forward to it. But, I'm not going to jinx you. But I am looking to hear good news, though. So coming into this show, me and Patrick, we both see that you are kind of an underrated superstar on this campus. Everybody looks at basketball, baseball in that season, but equestrian, not as much spotlight. So can you tell us a little bit about your feelings towards the relationship between the equestrian department and all the other sports on campus?
I agree. We were a little underrated. Mike Brooks stepped in here, and he's done a great job as the AD recognizing, equestrian. I definitely have a tremendous amount of respect for all the other sports teams on campus. We all practice, work very hard, but equestrian is just different, than other sports. People don't understand it. I think that's why we're kind of viewed as like the outcast. But Mike Brooks has done a really great job of trying to bring everybody together and recognizing us and getting us on the social media and athletics page. So I think that we're not that underrated. I think we were at one point, but it's changed, and we all respect each other with the same respect that the other teams give each other.
Definitely. I feel like if anybody makes that drive out to you guys' barn, though, you guys would definitely have the spotlight, because I've been there, and it is massive. It's just nothing but grass everywhere and a very, very big barn with a big ring inside of it.
It's definitely beautiful. I encourage people to come out and check it out.
Definitely. So what does the future look like for Mr. Dylan Dombroski?
The future definitely includes, riding my whole life. It's not only my sport, but it's my passion. I'm also an equine business major here, so it's good to involve horses. What exactly, I don't really know, but I know I'll always ride and compete outside of school after the college competition is over.
Right. Well, I did a little bit of research on you. I'm not a creep or anything, but I did do some research, and I saw that your professional athlete is Mr. Sean Florida.
Sean Florida, yes.
Yes. So why do you like him so much?
Sean Florida is kind of my idol in the equestrian world. He is a $5 million rider, which means that he's earned $5 million just by riding horses.
Yep, he did that in 2013.
Yeah, and he's very well known and very good at what he does, and that's why he's my idol.
Definitely. So we're definitely going to go to break. We really want to thank Dylan for coming in. Definitely is a big superstar on this campus. I know I've definitely taken away a learning experience from this, so I definitely look forward to learning more about the equestrian department and seeing Dylan around campus. So that's my new friend right there, Mr. Dylan Dombroski.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Thank you. No problem. Anytime.
First, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. As you mentioned, my name is Bill Hauser. My job at the college is the director of the fitness and wellness department, but in addition to that, I also coach the swimming and diving team as well as the cross-country team here.
Okay. So we're going to dive right in here. What is it like being the host of the conference championship?
Yep, so this weekend we have the swimming and diving championships. We're hosting it here at Cazenovia College. And, to be honest, it's a little bit stressful. You're responsible for a lot of the logistics involved with the conference championships, scheduling the officials, making sure the pool's ready to go, all the setup and things like that. But it's also really exciting. It's something that I enjoy doing. We've done it a couple of times as well. And, I think that we do a very good job running the championship meet.
So it's, like we said, it's your third time hosting this event. Is this a testament to how nice of a facility Cazenovia has to offer?
Yeah, when I started here, we've done a lot of improvements on the pool itself. We have bleachers now. We never had those when I was here. We've replaced all the lane lines, the diving boards, the starting blocks, and we've really updated it to be a very competitive facility, and compared to the other pools in our conference, I do believe it's one of the best, and that's one of the reasons why we can host our championships here.
So is it hard for your team to compete 3 days in a row? We just talked to Dylan, who does that as well, but especially in terms of swimming, how hard is it to compete in 3 straight days like you do?
It's one of the things that obviously all the athletes have to do, but as a coach, you have to make sure that your athletes are prepared to do this. And one of the things that I like to do at one point in the season is actually schedule either 2 meets on back-to-back days, which we did the first semester, or what I'll do is I'll have them do a very, very hard practice on one day right before an actual meet. So the key to swimming well over 3-day championships is to try to be the team that can deal with it the best. Everyone's going to get tired. Everyone's performance is going to suffer a little bit because they're tired. But if you're prepared for that, you know how to handle it once you get to that 3rd day.
Okay. So we've already stated that you guys are the defending champions. How does that play into going into this tournament, especially as a swim team?
I think that the girls are the defending champions this year, and it's one of those things where I think they're a little bit nervous because obviously when you are coming into the championship meet as a defending champion, you have a little bit of a target on your back. But I also think that it kind of brings with it a sense of confidence. So I think that they're really ready to go. They know how well they did last year. The team this year is probably the best team I've ever had at the college, and I think they're very confident going into this weekend as well.
So now we're going to talk about this a little bit more here in a few minutes, but tell us a little bit about Nicole Sakor and Brianna Hall. They both seem like they're performing very well this season. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. Nicole and Bree are both sophomores. Nicole was here last year, and Bree, we were lucky enough to have her transfer over this year. They both swam in the NEAC last year. Nicole was Swimmer of the Year, and Bree was Rookie of the Year. So really to have 2 of the best swimmers in our conference last year be on our team this year is very huge. They're 2 of the best swimmers I've ever had the opportunity to coach at the college, but the best thing about both of them is they don't come across like that. They're very team-oriented, as well as the entire team. They're always there pushing each other and trying to make the team better. So even though arguably they're the 2 best swimmers on the team, you would never know it if you were to kind of go into the group of swimmers of the swim team.
Well, it's very good to hear how humble they really are, even how terrific they've been. And the next question we want to ask you is, during the season you had a 7-game meet, whatever you want to call it, win streak. What goes through your team's mind as they're going on a streak like that?
It's obviously exciting. What's interesting is I didn't even realize it until it was kind of brought to my attention that we've won so many meets in a row. The interesting thing about swimming is you could go 0-10 or you could go 10-0 throughout the course of a season, and you could win or lose championships. So it all comes down to that last meet. So there were times where we were 4-10 and then went to championships and won it, and there were other times when we were 10-4 and went to championships and came in second. So the win-loss record for swimming over the course of a season, it doesn't really weigh much on how you can do at a championship meet. But obviously, once it was brought to my attention, it was exciting to hear, and we actually finished the season on a win too, which is really nice. That's
very nice to hear. So what do you think is going through the minds of your swimmers as they prepare for this weekend here, a couple of days away, but championships this weekend? So what do you think is going through their minds?
They're very nervous, which I think it happens to a lot of athletes before they get into a game or meet situation. And one of the things I always tell them is, I think it's important to be nervous. I always worry about an athlete that isn't at least somewhat anxious going into a competition. And I tell them if you're not, it's almost like you don't care. So the fact that they're getting a little nervous and kind of, a little bit anxious for this meet is a good thing. And a lot of times people that are anxious, as long as they can use that anxiety, usually perform a lot better. So I'm excited to see how they can do this weekend.
Okay, so we've been previewing this weekend event. We're going to preview it a lot more here in a couple minutes. But do you have any last thoughts about this upcoming weekend that you want to tell the fans?
All I want to say is to, if you have the time, come out and support us. We're going to be there every day most of the time. I'm not sure if everyone has seen the schedule, but we have prelims each morning, beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning. Basically, the way that swimming works is everyone swims in the morning, and the top 12 people from the morning come back and swim at finals at night, and those are the people that score the points. So if you have the opportunity to come at night, it'd be great to pack that place with Cazenovia people and to support us. The last day is when the champion is awarded or announced, and same thing, if we could have a huge crowd there to hopefully cheer us on to another championships, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I think we're all set with you, but definitely good luck this weekend in all the events. We hope to bring another championship home to Cazenovia. So we're going to have a short little break, and then we're going to talk a lot about swimming and then conclude with women's basketball. So stick around. As we've done today. Now to talk a little bit more about swimming and diving. Like we said, we do have the championships this weekend. Bill kind of already touched on this, but they start at 10 a.m. each day, with the rounds going all the way up to the final one, which is at 6. That's $3 sessions and $5 per day, and it's the third time since 2009 that we've hosted. So now to get into more of how the season's going, Bill already mentioned this, but we've had both the Swimmer of the Year, which was Nicole Sakor, and the Rookie of the Year, which was Brianna Hall. She actually won that at Cedar Crest College instead of Kaz, but she transferred here before this year. Their record is 8-5 on the season, and they had a 7-meet win streak to end the first semester. Kevin, have you ever been out to any of the swim meets?
Not yet this year. I did go last year, and it was very interesting because the way the bleachers sit is you basically almost feel like you're in the pool. So it was very interesting sitting there and having water come and hit my feet, but it almost felt like I was at the beach.
Yeah, I actually worked one a couple years ago, and it was an experience in itself just to sit there and watch how fast they really are.
Oh yeah, definitely. There were a couple players that I sort of knew from being around campus, and to see them in the athletic realm was very interesting and entertaining to watch. So definitely look forward to going to swimming.
All right, so now as we go to their last meet, they actually played at SUNY Delhi, and the women did very well. They actually scored 662 points, which, a normal game, basketball's below 100. But in swimming, they do it based on each competition. They do competitions all day, and they did finish first with, like I said, 662. Astonishing for our female and male swimmers. And now as we look at some of the winners, we won. I won't go through all the names, but some of the meets that they won, various ones. They won the 1-meter diving, 400-yard medley, 200 freestyle, 100 backstroke, and various others. But the women competed very, very well. The men, on the other hand, they had a tough road. They finished 5th with 52 and 4th place at 204. So not a great showing for the men, but they did have some great swimmers on the day. They placed first in 2 competitions, the 100-yard backstroke and the 200-yard intermediate, which was that was Colin Stewart. So the men haven't been performing as well as the women, but they still have a chance to make this weekend one to remember. Also, we kind of touched on the fact that they've had the men's and women's swimmer of the weeks for a record 7 weeks so far this season. Colin Stewart's had it twice. Brianna Hall has had it 4 times. Nicole's had it twice, and Paige has had it once. So a terrific season so far, and they're looking to bring home the championship this weekend. Next weekend, we're going to get one of these swimmers, we're not sure who yet, bring them in to talk about this past weekend. But like Bill said, if you have a chance to go out and watch this meet this weekend, it's definitely one that I highly recommend you guys come out and see, because we have 2 terrific teams swimming in the pool this year, and we have strong chance of bringing home our 2nd championship. So in lieu of time, we're going to go right into women's basketball, which is Kevin's section. So what do you have for us, Kev?
Well, with the women, it's been a very interesting year for them. Since I now work at the games at the announce table, for the most part, what I just do is observe and how they watch. So I missed the first 4 games, which was predominantly away in the beginning of the season, but their last few games have been mostly home. And it's been interesting sitting there watching them play compared to the men's. With the women, they have a lot of great athletes that play. Skylar Gerard, Kelly Shepardson, DeAndre Watson, very good players on the team. And I think the best part I like watching is seeing them grow over time. One of the things that I saw watching them play was they didn't pass the ball a lot. But, in this last few games, they've definitely been moving the ball more, and it's definitely been making a little bit more of a difference. Now, Taylor Springer, who is player number 32 for the team, they are definitely, she's definitely a force to be reckoned with, as I recognize. She doesn't have that many points, but when it comes to her playing her position, she nails it every single time to a T, especially going up against other female opponents from opposing teams. One of the things I like about watching Taylor is the way that she guards, and she matches up with some of these women. Some of these women are like the same height as her, and some of them are even taller. So to watch her go toe-to-toe with them, and they sometimes think they're just going to push Taylor around, but it's definitely not that case.
Yeah, she is a really phenomenal player for them. I've actually watched a couple of the games. I think I've been sitting right next to you at those games, Kev, and they're definitely playing very well.
Yeah, well, Alyssa Connor is another player who sort of plays the same position as Taylor Springer, and I think if she got more play time, it would definitely be 2 forces to be reckoned with in that paint area. Another thing I really want to recognize, earlier I definitely mentioned Keith Caiello with his 3-pointers, possibly getting him a G5, but I sort of feel like Skylar Gerard definitely needs one too, maybe get one in a different color or something, because she nails 3-pointers, and it's remarkable. It just floats right in there, just so like Keith, and it's amazing to watch. I didn't expect that going in and watching the game, especially a lot of three-pointers at that. And every single time Skylar Gerard gets the ball, no matter what, no matter who's playing defense against her, she gets it over them, and it sinks right through every single time. So definitely shout out to Skylar Gerard and her amazing skills. I definitely want to touch on their most recent game against Penn College, which was a win. Cazenovia won 93-75, and that was definitely a remarkable game. It was definitely a game changer for the season. I saw them passing the ball around a lot. I saw them making their shots. They definitely was executing, and I think that's one of the big things I've recognized with them playing throughout the year is executing. They definitely have the style, they have the skills, they have the players, but when it came to execution, they was not always delivering. But this past game, they did an amazing job of executing, and hopefully they have more games to do so, and also looking forward to next season. So.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, they also play in that Route 20 rivalry here in another couple weeks. I believe, aren't the girls ahead of the guys this year, or is it the other way around?
I think that it's definitely they're ahead.
Okay. So if you guys want to come out and see, they will be playing right beforehand, and they definitely need all the support they get with that game. It's going to be a tough road for our Wildcats, but like Kevin said, they've been playing well lately, so they definitely have a shot.
I'm definitely looking forward to that Morrisville game. I'm very excited for that. It's going to be me, all campus in the non-neutral area. I will be definitely cheering for our Wildcats, both the men's and the women, so looking forward to that game.
Very good to hear. So now as we kind of wrap up our show today, we have a special segment that we're going to put in every episode. This is 30 seconds where Kevin's free to talk about anything non-sports related. So here we go. Let's see what he's got. First episode.
Patrick Smith definitely put me up to this one. He told me this just yesterday, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about for 30 seconds, but let's see, what is non-sport? Maybe I'll dive into my personal life a little bit. So I'm currently taking theater history too. And one of the assignments that we had was to write about a fairy tale that we really liked growing up, and how as we got older we found out the truth about some of these fairy tales and how they're not real. Sorry if you have any children at a young age. So when I was working on this assignment, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll do Santa Claus. But then I was like, you know what, everybody might do Santa Claus. It's like a really easy one to get. So I called my mom up, and it was like in the middle of the day, really random. And I'm just like, so Mom, how old was I when I found out, Santa Claus wasn't real? She was like, I don't know, like maybe middle school or something. I was like, okay, cool. I might write about that. So I hang up the phone. So I'm sitting there, and then 5 seconds later, I'm like, you know what? Let me do the Tooth Fairy. I was like, I really like the Tooth Fairy. Who doesn't like the Tooth Fairy? You get money from the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, that's a talking point.
So I call my mom back literally 30 seconds later, and she's like, yes. And I'm like, so the Tooth Fairy is real, correct? And this woman says, yeah, of course the Tooth Fairy is real. Of course. I'm like, okay, I'm just making sure, because for a second I thought the Tooth Fairy was not real. And so I was just like, you know what, the Tooth Fairy is real. I'm not going to write about that. That's the homie. She always has money. So, I decided to write about Santa Claus. So just the other day, I get a text message from my mother in the family group chat. And she mentions how my nephew, he's only 5, he just lost his first tooth. And so I called her, and I'm like, great, AJ, he done lost his first tooth. I know he's really excited. He's about to get some money. And my mother's going to turn around and say, well, your sister only put $1 under the pillow. And I'm just like, so you mean to tell me the Tooth Fairy is not real? I feel like my childhood.
Oh, jeez.
And it was definitely a heartbreaker. I'm a big kid at heart. On my free time, when I'm not working or here at the radio station, I'm definitely a big kid at heart. So I think my childhood has officially come to an end at the age of 20, and the Tooth Fairy is, I think, not real. So.
Well, all right. That was Kevin's 30 seconds of airtime. That was very interesting. So now to kind of close up, I want to thank all of you for listening today. This is our first showing of the Roar podcast, and we both feel it was a success. We had great interviewees coming in. They gave us some great insight into their sports. We learned a lot about equine. We had a very, very good first show. So now, if you want to view any of our episodes, you can tune in at tunein.com or the TuneIn app. It's not up and running yet, but we are working on that. And also at the Facebook page, which is the WITC Facebook page. We also personally have at the Roar our own Twitter page. So if you ever want to give us some tips for future shows or people you want to hear speak on the air, just let us know, and we will try to get them in. Also, we are having this recorded, and it will be shown on our Cazenovia College Wildcats website. So if you can't listen in live here, you can always go on there and listen. But to close up, we just want to say good luck to all Cazenovia College team. Definitely bring home that championship this weekend.
We're definitely all rooting for you.
And we're very excited to be a part of the Cazenovia College athletic family. And so now we're on a 7-day break. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.